Hey guys, my name is Simpzy. How you all doing? Welcome back to some more Troy, A Total War Saga here today on the channel. We're back with episode 2 of my Aeneas Let's Play. In today's episode, we're going to be finishing off our war against the Apios, and then maybe looking towards some wars around us. I have identified the Manenian Phrygians, also the Chirus and Aeneas. That's how you say their names. These Greek names are going to be the death of me. So guys, if you like the sound of that, feel free to leave the video a like, subscribe if you're new around here with notifications on, let me know in the comments, feedback and suggestions for the series and where you'd like me to expand and conquer. Gotta say a huge thank you to the Creative Assembly for sending me a free early access code of Troy and making this Let's Play possible. So a huge thank you to them and their community team. Troy will be available to the general public for free on the 13th of August, the 14th in Australia for the first 24 hours. So go and snatch it up. If you do make a purchase, use credit code SimpzyTotalWar at checkout if you want to support the channel and flick me a couple of bucks. Right, so for some reason here, they've managed to march out with an army from their last settlement. We want to try and continue to secure and become the dominant Trojan force in Asia Minor. We could very well push up the Bosphorus and maybe forge Constantinople. Aeneas, the father of the Romans, as it were. We want to try and forge a Roman Empire in the Bronze Age in this alternative history. We need to ensure that Troy will never fall. So I asked a question: what would happen? What would Rome be called if Remus didn't kill Romulus? And there were a couple of... I just want to get a better order resolved there. Maybe we're better off going for the city to block that reinforcement and then attacking it. Yeah, so if you encircle this, I want to get a better balance of power. There we go. So now they've run back. I don't know why they pushed out. I'll get back onto my train of thought in a second, but we just need to set up today's first battle. So there's no one else hanging in and around here, so they can't come in. So can you just like attack from an area? No, so I guess you're gonna have to break if we want that additional army to come up. A little bit of fandangle stuff here, just trying to secure our victory here because we don't want the garrison to come in. So we'll move up Romulus and we'll allow Aeneas to come in. That's what we want. So we have Ares smiling upon us. Let's chuck a quick save before the fight. Okay, so we're coming up against 8 spearmen with shields, 4 normal spears, and 4 slingers. So, in an alternative timeline, supposedly, there's a couple of theories. If Remus killed Romulus and was the successful of the two brothers when they were, what were they doing, counting birds, jumping over walls and stuff, it was either going to be called Rem, but I personally prefer that Rome was going to be called Remoria, which I kind of like. The Remorian Empire has a nice sort of twang to it. So let's form up our army. Looking at my army build, it's slightly changed. So we've got 2 units of those medium spears. I quite like them a lot. I reckon the mediums are going to be exceptional when we finally get access to them. We've got our clubbed sword, sort of a clubbed warriors there. We do have 1 unit of the coastal axes, which you guys saw in that last episode. I really didn't like. The problem is with Aeneas, he's got a lot of access to weak and cannon fodder units, so it's very hard to verify which are sort of the more viable candidates, as it were. But I'm not a fan of the coastal axes. Spearmen are now pushing up. Cool beans. Okay, and we'll wait for Romulus to come in and help. So here is Romulus. It's a shame there's no family tree in Troy, so we're going to have to act as... this is Aeneas' adopted son. He's got a hell of a beard. Maybe he should be a clean-shaven Roman. I wish you could customize them a little bit. So we'll form up our skirmishers because they're going to massively help in this one. The terrain in this fight looks not very good. Very checkerboardy. Look at this. There's like very small spots that we can sort of move up and on. So I guess we'll just try and close the distance with them, and then we'll interlock our infantry forces with theirs. My skirmishers should be able to carry the battle here today, but Aeneas is charging up an epic fighter, the second best fighter I personally believe in Troy after Achilles. He's one of the... Well, he starts off as a normal starting position, but to be honest, so far, even on a veteran difficulty, both campaign and battle, it does seem quite easily, just because he's got so many fantastic buffs. Aeneas is pushing up here, and so what we want to sort of do for this campaign is forge a large, even like a sort of an independent Trojan kingdom. I'm not too fussed about my cousin Hector or Paris. We could look to confederate with them eventually. Once we have a full stack free, I reckon I might send one to my uncle Priam to sort of defend Troy, because the AI does have a tendency to launch invasions over the Mediterranean, which is quite cool. I think in my Achilles campaign, I was just trying to remember off the top of my head, I think Paris got as far as Athens. So Paris of Troy sieged out the city of Athens and took it, which is quite cool. So where's their general? There's only one of them. I want Aeneas to fight them in hand-to-hand combat. So, or in a duel. So, they've actually deployed downside of the hill, because there seems to be a bit of a top of the hill here. Well, we'll take that and we'll fire down upon you from the cliff face with impunity. If you're going to allow us to give us that room there, reforge that up there. But still on the channel over the next coming days and weeks, Troy will be taking over it. I upload midnight in Australia, 3 PM British Standard Time. In Europe and the Americans, depending on where you are. East Coast, I think it's quite early in the morning, while the Californians have a sort of an afternoon sort of start date. So they're actually charging me a little... This is splitting so weird. It's okay. I'm allowed to do an Arnold accent, as I am partly Austrian on my grandfather's side. Okay, that's like my closest ancestor. All the rest of them are from the 1800s. I've been in Australia for 8 or 9 generations now, so I'm a true blue Aussie, mate. Alright, we'll continue to push them there. I do have one of those ancestry DNA test videos, if you're curious on that department. But there's a lot of crazy stuff coming on about that. That I knew. I thought, yeah, I'm giving them my DNA. What's the worst that can happen? They'll clone me in 1,000 years. I'll come back. It'll be me. For all intensive purposes. Like, imagine, like, I don't care. I won't be here. But it would just be me. They probably like somehow get my voice as well, because you do forget about that like I've done thousands and thousands of videos, so I've probably nearly said every word in the English dictionary. It might be quite close, along with some other swear words as well. So this is a really cool fight, because my skirmishers are raining fire and death upon theirs. I don't know what's going on. They're just trying to find a strategic position. I have a feeling that line of sight has played a really, really bad trick on them. So Aeneas is currently fighting their lord. They're trying to push uphill, while our skirmishers are just trying to hit theirs. Look at that. They were actually hitting their skirmishers up and over. We've got a huge flanking unit here with Romulus. Once we are available to get 3 armies, we'll get Remus in to help us out as well. Maybe we can rename all our prominent generals Roman commanders. Gaius Julius Caesar, Marcus Antony, Pompey, Lepidus, Sulla, just to name a few. Maybe let me know suggestions so I can rename some of them. Okay. So, we're winning on the left flank here. My skirmishers are doing well. They're actually pushing a little bit. We've nearly defeated... okay, so Aeneas is about 75% out to the enemy general's 50. But yeah, anyway, the crazy stuff is in the US, they're solving crimes through those DNA tests, because even in Australia there's a lot more legality behind it. But basically what you can do, I heard a really interesting thing about it. So if any one of my siblings, I guess, siblings or future children or like relatives commit a crime, I've kind of screwed them because now it's all uploaded on there, you can track and stuff. DNA, quite crazy. I'd love to see, because I signed up to that ancestry.com. It wasn't a sponsored video or anything. I talk about them enough, so I probably should. I wonder if any one of my subscribers I'm related to. That'd be weird. But surely if you're Tasmanian, we're all related, aren't we? Especially, yeah, because that's where the whole story comes from, doesn't it? Because there was only a very few founding families, as it were, and a lot of people stay on the island and leave, but not many people come in. If you know what I'm talking about. Johnny Knoxville had a really good bit about it, where he grew up in the US. Okay, right, so they seem to be holding quite well, even though we have the uphill advantage, while they are still holding the bottom of the hill. I'm quite impressed about that. On their right-hand side, it's basically turning into two fights, even though I thought we did quite well, like skirmishing down. Like, imagine the velocity of a peeler coming up and then down from a hill. Those things must be coming in with some heat. Okay, so they need to reform there. But we're going to win this one. Eventually, yeah. The spear and shieldmen are just really holding me off there. Even just looking at them, they're probably more armoured. So we've managed to knock out their lord. He's now running in a full retreat. And we'll chuck in Aeneas in the rear to jump in and potentially deal some damage. Okay, now with their enemy lord in a full retreat, it looks like victory is now inevitable, as Romulus and the flanking reinforcement army are now doing their damage. Victory against the Apios. Yep, we've got it. So let's try and run down as many of the captives as possible. So if you guys haven't watched that first video, and if you're sort of new to Troy or you've got any newcomer friends, I do recommend that first one, maybe sending it out or just linking it to people, because essentially the first half an hour of that video I did a pure Troy tutorial and broke down the buildings, the units, and how sort of I go about planning my campaigns and my thought process. Because look, if you've played strategy games before, you sort of know where you're going, but there is a learning curve for Troy, and sometimes for some people it can be a little bit steeper than others. I know from personal experience, when I've never played a Paradox game before, like 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, what is this? Like, just trying to figure it out. I also remember, like, my first time, I was a child at the end of the day, but like trying to figure out Rome 1 when I first got... I remember for the life of me, I couldn't figure out public order, and it really used to infuriate me until I obviously looked it up and Googled it and figured out how to do it. But public order and rebellions, I just was like, oh, what is this? I can't deal with it. Okay, so the skirmish is doing quite well. But, yeah, just Google stuff if you're unsure. But they're now running. Our skirmishers should be able to finish those off. So, this should be the last of our first major enemy. They started off quite well. Aeneas does start off with some decent resources as well. We want to try and knock out our non-Trojan neighbours as well, so we'll look to go against them. So Aeneas lost 300, Romulus lost 7, and they deployed 2.5k, losing 1.4. So it was a bit more spread out. The medium swords did the best, but the skirmishers performed about the same as much as the melee ones. So we deployed 5.8k in total, losing 1k. 2.4. They lost 1.4. So we've got a couple of options here. I think I might just take the replenishment. That is probably the play. Oh, we've won. Right. Right, we've defeated the entire army. We didn't have to run it down for a secondary time, which I thought was quite possible. So we can raid this territory now. I actually raided their capital by accident. So we'll skirmish. Oh, we might actually have to hold this because I want to be able to get that god favor. Like, we mistimed it, I think. Oh, yeah, you can't raid it. Oh, that's infuriating. He doesn't have enough movement points. I guess I should have... Ah, yeah, so in hindsight, I should have got Aeneas to raid and move the other one up. Why is the camera angle locked? Excuse me, please don't do that. Right, so we'll burn a turn because we want to try and get that replenishment there. I guess we can siege out and burn a couple of turns. Okay, Protector of the People is probably the play. Oh, but I do quite like the Stalwart upkeep. Yeah, so let's get a minus 15% upkeep. Okay. During the end turn phase now, I want to raid the province. But we're in no real rush. We're going to be able to secure a wood deposit. So wood is probably not going to be an overly too much of a concern from us. So we'll raid the province there with Romulus, and then we get a plus 60 to Aphrodite. So I think with Aeneas, to do our Homeric victory conditions, I don't know if I necessarily like it. We have to have 300 favour with all the gods. So that means we're going to have to conquer a fair amount of territory. I'm curious when some major factions get knocked off, we can speak to the dead. But the cult of my mum has gone down, which is a shame. And Dardanos has gone up a bit. Oh, we have access to an epic agent. Okay.
You can rely on me.
Right. Soon. So we should... Yes, we should be able to auto-resolve this one out.
Show me blood.
Okay, sweet. Aeneas has some really cool animations. Whoa! He gets some nice head swipes and decapitations and whatnot. I can't wait until the blood and gore pack is out. We shall loot and occupy the city. We've been occupying for the most part of it. But that should be the end of them. I'm hoping. Yep. Apios is no more. The crabby boys, I like to call them, are gone. Ah, but we've still got the Manian Phrygians that I did identify as a potential target. Are currently raiding. So if we want to unite the province, we need that, and that's a Trojan one. What about pushing northwards into Dardania? Okay. Pushing further back there could be a potential play. Okay, guys, welcome to the top of the turn. I've skipped a little bit ahead to start off our new war. So, we need to move the priestess to the following region to continue on with the priestess of Ida. So, we get some nice buffs here. We're going down our epic victory conditions. So, we'll be able to bring in a priestess. I think going with Ares, continue on with that just yet. Once we get him to like 300, we can look to bringing in different deity cults and temples. So we're going to be going to war with the Manian Phrygians on our eastern line, and we'll go with strict there, I think is the best play. So we're going to have to move the priestess there now. We'll eventually move her into my army build. For now we have access to priestesses a lot more than envoys. Priestesses you can put in your army. They can give you a, if you spend 100 it's food technically, or 100 grain, you do get access to either a 10% morale buff or debuff. It's a gamble, kind of like the Winds of Magic in Warhammer 2. I do recommend it. But with Achilles, he gets a lot more better quality and unique bonuses just because he's due to his faction. So it might be not a bad idea once we get envoys, maybe to chuck a couple in Aeneas' army to reduce our upkeep. So we're going to be declaring war upon the Manian Phrygians against Proteus, and we're going to be securing another wood pile here, a wood resource. So we're going to have a lot of them. So that's quite crucial early on. Wood is interesting in the game. Depending on where you are, you can have a lack of a supply of it. But just where we are, we seem to have a lack of mythical units in and around us. As you sort of, depending on zones, are quite heavy with towards the mountains and the mythic regions of ancient Troy. There seems to be a lot more. Whoa! The crazy archer there coming out at Aeneas, but a good swipe and parry. Never fear, Aeneas is here again. He's such a cool cat. I can't recommend him enough. You want to play as probably Hector if you want to be a little bit more defensively minded. Paris is quite good with archers. We might go back to that save that I still have in that mini-series because even though it's like an older version of Troy, I might need to ask about that if I can still play that. I've forgotten about it. But we could go back to that, or maybe we should start afresh just in case it gets bugged. We'll scout again towards their capital. Doesn't seem like there's anyone up and around there, so let's pull you back. Okay, so we want to try and secure the entire province. Yeah, so there seems to be a distinct lack of really resources here. Grain there, I guess. There is a gold mine, though, but securing the gold mine is going to be crucial for this game. So getting one of them early on. Okay, so there's a lot of better quality units in and around there. Let's encircle. So it's a 50-50 with Aeneas. If we bring up Romulus, are we going to have a better quality one? It is a gold mine. We want to try and secure the gold mine as quickly as possible.
Strike them down.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that. I'm going to be a little bit more liberal with the auto resolves in this Aeneas campaign, as in, I think it was my Menelaus in Paris. I pretty much played every single battle, regardless of difficulty, and I did the same thing with my Achilles. And it does make the battles a little bit longer. So, unless it's a really cool, unique battle that I haven't sort of played or had a similar experience before, or it's a crucial must-win battle, I'm going to do it. But I'm going to be auto-resolving more of the battles that just simply don't interest me. Because I can, eventually, that means I can pump out more Troy campaigns. Okay, so we've secured the gold mine. That's good. Let's end the turn. Yeah, so just thinking on the auto resolve stuff, I prefer quality over quantity. Oh, here we go. The Phrygians. Oh, so it looks like they've pushed in to try and take their settlement back. So there was an army lurking around there. That's why we need to get a spy in our mix, because my army only had a very limited line of sight. I don't understand this. Why does the AI not have self-preservation like that? Raising is such an annoying thing because it basically hurts the player more than anything, because it just griefs it. The AI doesn't care about buildings and stuff because they cheat. So often when you get a settlement, you can't actually use most of the buildings. Now that we're at war, I probably should have done this before. We'll go looking for the divine. So because basically you can get passive buffs if you're already at war. Basically. So when you do obviously this, you can get missions, and especially if you're at war, like you're already going to destroy these armies, take the settlements. It's always worth doing. Yeah, so we actually want to defeat that army now. But yeah, that sacking, that raising really infuriates me. I think it's just like coded that when you're at war in someone and there's a settlement that's under your control, that's in line of sight, they raise it, no matter what. To deplete the player, it probably makes things harder, and the AI doesn't care. The AI doesn't want to hold it and build it, but it's kind of a little bit unrealistic, because these guys have come and it's like, "Ah, my lord, you're here to save us. We've been holding this territory for 100 years. And they come and raise it to the ground after, Aeneas left his stinky socks and clothes in this settlement. Burn it all. Like the scorched earth tactic is, yeah, I don't really like it. But anyway, let's fight this battle here today against the Manian Phrygians. Proteus has come out and attacked. Now, okay, so mostly spears, clubs, and some slingers. Not the most highest quality of army build. I believe the battle against the Apios probably had better quality men. Anyway, we unite up with Remus, and we'll be able to win this one. The auto-resolve did look interesting, so we're going to play this one here. So let's form up, wait for our reinforcements to come, and we shall try and deal with the Phrygians. Luckily I secured that gold mine, but now we're going to have to put a bit of investment in there, because this sort of griefs the growth and public order and stuff, because especially in Warhammer I have experienced it firsthand that sometimes the AI can raise your capital to the ground, and that can be game changing. In Total War campaigns, often there are flashpoints. There's make or break situations which can basically upend your campaign and make it incredibly hard for you for the rest of it, and basically win or lose. If you lose a particular army in a particular settlement, you can just get steamrolled into sort of empire mediocrity for even like 20 to 30 turns. They seem to be progressing. Okay, I was going to say they seem to be coming up against us here quite well. We'll put a second line of slingers, and we'll put the weaker infantry back slightly. The battlefields haven't been very favourable for either side. A lot of topography jutting out of the world, and there seems to be a lot of foliage and stuff as well. So we'll form up, and then we'll march out once everyone's rallied up. So we'll make a little bit of progress here, essentially 100 yards. So I've split up my two infantry lines. I don't often do this, but due to that auto-resolve and a couple of fights we've had pushing into the Phrygian lands, we're a little bit sort of depleted manpower-wise. So we'll move up with the stronger core infantry front line. We'll have the weakers in the second, and the skirmishers in the third. Okay. 60% to our favour, to their 40. Will allow Aeneas to engage their defender in a duel, try and finish him off, while Remus can really take the next flank. Look, if they're just going to sit there and eyeball me, let's countercharge them. But just due to the cliff face here, it's going to be hard to move and traverse the field. But we'll charge here. If you press space on your keyboard in Troy, you do have access to the various overlays. I just click it so I can actually see what's going on in and around the forests there. So it seems to be a little bit of a choke point there. I do quite like the terrain, the land battlefields in Troy. It does offer unique and especially distinctive battles compared to other Total Wars. Like, sometimes it can be really annoying. They have made the battlefields quite small compared to other Total Wars. I think that's a good thing because, well, if you like cavalry, it's probably not too good, but there seems to be a distinct lack of it. I think that's sort of why, because if it was, because you'd have these sweeping charges, and sometimes the AI can just like run around the campaign map and you just can't quite get it. But that's just a thing to note. We'll try and swing them around the flank, and we'll allow Aeneas to engage theirs. So I thought they would have deployed more on the right-hand side. So our skirmishers are engaging theirs. We're in infantry combat here. So push up the secondary line just to help out. And Aeneas should be able to knock out them. These guys are sitting idly by. Okay, so engage those infantry around the rear and try and run down that slinger unit. Yeah, so speaking of the Trojans, I want to try and confederate with Hector, Paris. I don't think I can confederate with Priam. We forgot about Sarpedon in the south as well, and maybe a couple of others. So I'm deliberately avoiding breaking treaties with Trojans and attacking them. So even though they've got a lot of good territory in and around me, some of my ethnic Trojan allies, I don't particularly want to do it. Now that we've surrounded them here, they should retreat. My two-handed axemen have smashed them. Okay, so on this left-hand side, we have managed to break 1-2 units in the chain, while some of them are still holding. My skirmishers are doing subpar. I thought they would have done a lot more in this. They were doing tremendously better in the last battle, where they had distinctive high ground opportunity against the enemy belligerents. I struggle to say that. Aeneas there, trying to kill Proteus, but he should be able to prevail. Counter-punching and swiping with a slice in the back and a big right-hand hook with his sword there. Most of them are in a full retreat, except for their skirmishers and that cluster of clubmen there. Well, once we destroy this full stack, we should be able to march upon their capital with impunity, because when we scouted with Romulus, we didn't really see too much in and around there. But that's why we need to eventually get spies into our build to, well, scout ahead. Yeah. I kind of feel like the way I want to confederate is similar to the High Elves in Warhammer 2. That's a really good example, because with Tyrion and stuff, you don't want to be particularly declaring too many war against the High Elf factions, because you want to ally up with Calidor and Imric and the White Lion, and Alariel's another one, and Lithanar, so you don't particularly want to be warring them overly too much. You're better off focusing on vampire counts and just Druki in and around you. Which, for us, there seems to be plenty of Asians, Aetolian kings. There seems to be plenty of other factions in and around us. Phrygians, like these guys, just to name a few. Okay, so we won't need to worry about them. Yeah, but just looking at the map, I'm surprised how many, like, you obviously, you want to be, like, with the Danaans, you want to build up a strong enough empire so you can push over to Troy and take it and go down to those Homeric victory conditions. So, with Achilles, you want to try and build up, you want to take Thessaly, you want to try and take Epirus and then sail over. But I'm quite surprised where Aeneas can sort of expand, so he can secure the provinces in and around Troy and Asia Minor itself, around that Pergamon region, but he can push up towards Constantinople, Turkey, the Bosphorus. I don't know if you can sort of get invaded by Easterlings and sort of Easterlings, like Lord of the Rings Easterlings, but like I meant like the Turkic and other barbarians in the like the Cimmerian Greeks, and yeah, because you think of like Jason and Medea and all those barbarians up there. I wonder if there's sort of a disadvantage for pushing all the way north up there, potentially. But yeah, he can nearly start his own little kingdom, which is quite cool. I think we're probably better off just to try and go north and down through what is essentially the end of bottom Thrace. It's sort of like in Rome too, where the Adrician kingdom is. We've got a decisive victory here now. We lost 400, they lost 240. Sorry, we lost 240 with Romulus. They lost 1.4k, deploying at 2.8. And looking at the casualties sustained and inflicted, my infantry did tremendously a lot better due to the weaker quality, and Aeneas is going to throw back the Phrygians from whence they came. They took a couple of swipes in there. They counter-punched and traded quite well. Let's take on the warriors there. So I'm curious to see who we can eventually confederate with as well. I think if I had to have a choice between Paris, Hector, Sarpedon, I would probably go with Hector. I think defensively he's probably got better quality armies. We're not going to ever have a different archer in our build, so Paris is up there. I'm not entirely sure about Sarpedon. He's really too far south. We'll try and give chase and then push towards their capital where we can. But we should be able to finish up and, yeah, finish off the Manian Phrygians here today. And we only just declared war upon them.
Send them packing. Leave none alive.
Okay guys, welcome to the top of the turn. 25 turns in here now, and we should be able to go against their capital. They do have a couple of agents in and around here. We destroyed their full stack, and even like their garrison is quite strong. It's probably more so stronger than their army. If we bring in our priestess, maybe getting a morale buff might do. We could siege it out. Build up some siege equipment. They could very well attack us during the end turn phase. You never know.
Make them pay.
No, so they didn't attack us, which is a shame. So we'll sacrifice, get a 8+ morale, and we'll just auto-resolve this one out. Valiant defeat for them. And Aeneas has taken their capital. Crikey. Yeah, those coastal club fighters are really controversial. Whoa! A tremendous fight there for Aeneas. But we're going to be able to replenish and repair quite quickly. Man, oh man, the auto-resolve is so harsh in Troy.
With success.
But we've managed to finish off the Manian Phrygians.
The best warrior won.
And we've secured a crucial gold mine in the war. So we can, well, trade that off eventually and use that for higher tier, more costly units, and it's a really good trade resource. Everyone seems to like gold in this. We'll get a Minoan axe as well. Give that to Aeneas.
Founder of dynasties.
Okay guys, I've skipped a little bit ahead. I've moved back here now. We could very well go against them, but I have a new epic agent that I wanted to show you guys. A SATYR. The Medusa Gorgon was able to bring down the city. Let's have a look at his events. So he can either reduce morale on an enemy, or he can instantly upgrade and build a city. So we're going to get the SATYR to spellbind Danaans, and we're going to be able to upgrade what would take 5 turns quite quickly. Look at him dancing and singing about. I always think of that steer from Percy Jackson, Grover. Oh god, but that's the epic agent. So he's built a level 4 city instantly with wine and singing and dancing, I guess. Divine Will, use the Divine Will omen. Sure, we'll read the omens and see what we need to work with. 300 captives in battle, done. Servant of the gods, have at least 150 gold. Oh, we just need to kill 500 men in battle. Hera, Zeus, and a fair few of the other gods have leveled up. Okay, so Ares, Zeus, and Hera. Ares is celebrated at ranked 2. We want to try and get that to worshipped eventually. We're going to look to go to war probably here in a moment. I've rallied up. I've got a third army here now with Remus on the coast, Romulus and Aeneas, the 3 standing armies. War-wise as well, let's go to war with Danima. I think, yeah, we had a short war against them last episode, didn't we? Because against the Apios, they came and attacked us, then fled. So we might be able to take a couple territories in and around here. Ah, they've got an army near our capital. Right, so it's a good thing Remus is there. I didn't quite catch that. So we'll move Aeneas up here to deal with there. And there's another gold mine here, which is interesting. So grain and stone is what Aeneas seems to lack. I think I say Aeneas most of the time, but I do sometimes say Aeneas. It's however you want, vice versa, I guess. So it's a click on auto-resolve. We'll auto-resolve this one out. And Aeneas once more with a fantastic swipe. He seems to get a lot of decapitations with the decisive victory there. Maybe once the blood and gore comes out, we'll be able to see that in action a lot more. I'm going to loot and occupy. Just the resources are just too good, eh? And the cult of Aphrodite is going up as well. So the more we go down and help out the gods. So we have got 4 in operation there, which is quite cool. We can eventually get it up to 300. Ares is already 300 there, and then Merrick once we get more temples. But that means we're just going to need a lot of land. Okay, so they're just sort of hanging around our capital. If Remus was to intercept that, I wonder if he would win. Anyway, we're pushing into Mysa, and... oh, Apollonia got taken by who? Who did that? It's not Apollonia, it's... okay. Apollonia. Yeah, Apollonia is in... sort of towards the Epirus region, isn't it? That's more of a Rome 2 settlement. But Aeneas is going to go out and take this island settlement here in the channel. Just looking at that, we must be somewhere near Gallipoli, surely. Up and around here. Okay, so what else can... yeah, heroic spirit. Just get triggered sailing around the Turkish coast as an Australian. Just feel like you're going to get intercepted at any moment. But we should be able to... okay, so... I reckon Romulus can hit that. So, what will... Remus, sorry. Oh, can't forget the 2. Yeah, so we'll just like... basically mirror where they are on the coast. That's crazy that they had 7 units so far south, because that's their standing army. We caught them by surprise. They were at war with another faction, or maybe they were hanging around that Apollonia region, sort of towards the north, potentially. And then someone came in and, well, it was raised a couple of times, wasn't it? And then it was colonized. Oh well, we've taken the island here on the coast, and now they're starting to degrade. So hopefully they attack me now. We've taken all their territories. Apollonia, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, Apollonia is in sort of Epirus. Or maybe it's spelled the same way. Hey, they've come attacked me in the end turn. Because they basically... ooh, the sparks there as well, off the shields. Yeah, they've got no self-preservation, so... they can't win, they need that settlement. Oh, so we dealt with them quite quickly. Okay. Welcome to the top of the turn, guys. Skipped a little bit ahead. We're 38 turns in. I've made the decision that we're going to declare war upon the Chersonios. Now, these guys are sort of on a little outcropping of an archipelago here. I'm looking at their faction. They look like they're Trojans, but they're not. They're actually Aeolians. So they are a little bit more closer to the Aeolians on the sort of mainland of Greece. So we'll try and finish them off. They're just wearing a blue, so it sort of deceived me a bit. They've got a full stack in their capital with 20, and then they've got 16 in the garrison. I've made the decision to put Aeneas and Romulus into ambush stance. Aeneas is an expert ambusher now, so we've snuck in, and hey, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to drag out the enemy. So we're going to be fighting Adamas here today. 2 units of swords, a lot of spears. They did really well against us in a previous fight. 3 two-handed clubmen, which we haven't fought before, but a severe lack of skirmishers. Yeah, we could really well auto-resolve this if we wanted to, just looking at the odds. It'd be really good just because we've got so many skirmishers, but we'll fight this one. It's kind of a cool and unique fight. We'll play it, and we'll deal with Adamas of the Chersonios. and we'll take the island archipelago, or the peninsula. I don't know what the difference is, I can't remember. I think peninsula is bigger and archipelago is maybe a little bit more stringier. So, let's see what we're working with. So, I didn't really perceive them as a threat. I was sort of like, well, do I really want to push this way over to Thrace and into Macedon? Because you kind of want to face Achilles and Odysseus. But I am very hesitant of declaring war against Trojans. It's the blue, isn't it? It's the blue, the dark and light blue that deceived me. They're like a cuttlefish, hiding in plain sight. So I skipped a little bit ahead. Once we dealt with the Dinmar, we pushed way back over westward and were able to reform our armies. Marius... These are the Aeneas reforms. So looking at Aeneas' army build, we currently have 9 or 10 medium swordsmen. We also have access to second tier medium centaurs, which is fantastic. So we're definitely going to use them. We've also got some spearmen there. But here are the medium swordsmen for the first time in real action. Here is Adamas, their leader. Yeah, they do look sneakily Trojan, but as you zoom in, they are blue Achaeans, loyal to Menelaus and Agamemnon. So, we'll put our infantry on one side, and we'll put our skirmishers on the flank. You can actually see the city there in the background. So, we'll slow things down. We'll get every single one of my Anatolian, yeah, whatever. Medium swordsman to pick a target, and what I'll do with my skirmishers is I'll sit them on the other side and allow them to fire, hopefully in skirmish mode. If they can sort of run away and then we face the swordsman towards their back, we should be able to carve them up like carving a cake. Aeneas is going to engage Adamas head on, and we'll allow our centaurs to hit those lighter armoured spearmen as best we can. Okay, so
Your hero is under attack.
Romulus is going to try and push up and against them, and we are fragmenting and splitting their army, breaking their unit cohesion. But we do have a new cool ability with Aeneas, which what to take from is he can now heal while waiting for Romulus to come on, so he can actually fight a lot more, which is quite crucial, having healing buffs. Now, I'm curious to see how these medium cavalry perform in this fight, because I've only been fighting with very light tier centaur scouts quite often, with savage centaur warriors. So there's 133 javelin men in a silver chevron unit. Let's charge them side on and see how the savage warriors perform. I did have a couple of questions to see, are centaurs a good investment? Are they good quality? And I honestly can't tell you just yet. So with that charge there, how many did we kill? Only 30 or so. So I think you'd get a lot more, and it'd be more beneficial like in Attila, Rome 2. The thing is, right, mythical warriors held so much of an investment. We did shatter them in that one charge, so yeah, the savage ones are good. It's just, the thing is, right, it's all about investment. It's it's depending on where you sit in the campaign. Personally, if you can get harpies, build the tier 1 building and get them as quickly as possible. Romulus just needs to target their men. So there's sort of 1, 2, 3. There's like 3-4 pockets that we've managed to split them here. And although it's an unorthodox fight, we're going to be able to wrap around and destroy them a lot more. Yeah, I guess he went out for it. Righty-o, boys, it's time for a military exercise in the morning. Oh, wait, we just got ambushed. No! Yeah, it's because we were able to sneak in, and he's an be able to snuck in. He's an expert ambusher. Good old Aeneas. Yeah, because we declared war upon them and essentially went invisible to the AI so quickly, I guess they wanted to scout and maybe push out. We were lucky because you can have your ambushes foiled. But as we've got 2 down and in, it worked quite well. We've hit those spearmen side on, so harpies can't recommend enough. the savage centaurs aren't good, but you do need to put a fair bit of an investment, and especially early on, you're just not going to be able to afford them. Infantry and skirmishers are so much better. Like, are you better off if you have a province that you start off with the ability to get centaurs? Are you better off to invest and use that? Probably not. You're better off probably going with resources and other military buildings, prioritizing them first rather than like tier 2 centaurs, which are a quality. The tier 1 harpies are good though. You'd be better off building a tier 1 harpy building. Giants wise as well, tier 1 giants, look, they're not as what I would like. The N tier giants are quite cool, and cool if you can get those. But the vanguard ones, early, I'm not too much of a fan of. When I think of giants, I want them to be like river trolls, stone trolls. But to be honest, in Warhammer 2, they require a lot more of an investment. So the front line is still holding on quite well. Adamas and Aeneas are going at it. Both fighters trading quite heavily, and Aeneas needs to drop a health buff there because they're trading hand in hand. We might actually need to withdraw Aeneas quite... yeah, he might need to, just to be a little bit more safer in this fight and allow Romulus to take up the fight with the enemy commander. Just to trade in, swap in, tap in. Like it's WWE. Come on, tap me in, bro. Tap me in. Oh, Romulus coming in with a haymaker. Yeah, because he just needs to heal up. So now that we have a healing spell for all intensive purposes, we will be able to heal him on the battlefield. It'd be kind of cool if there was sort of other... Oh, we've done alright. We've managed to shatter him there. He's in a retreat. Oh, good. Well, Aeneas here now can basically just heal up for the rest of the rundown. There's a couple still units holding, so we technically haven't got total victory here just yet on the field of battle, but it's inevitable. We've managed to destroy their 20 stack, and we have victory here today. Let's run down the remaining stragglers. But I've got to give it to the Chersonos. They had a really strong defensive position on their peninsula. 20 stack in, 20 stack out. Without the chevrons, it's eerily similar to the defensive capabilities of what's in Troy 100 turns in. Romulus is going to be able to claim the Warlord kill. And maybe even get a little bit of buffs from that. We want to try and make sure we run down as many of the enemy combatants as possible, so we can push and take their capital. They've only got 2 territories on the coast, but once we finish these guys off, the world of northern and west Greece will be opened up. We'll be able to push against, Thracians up there? Maybe even some Macedonians and Danaan sympathizers or expedition units. So, or expedition forces. So, decisive victory. We lost 550. Romulus won 8. Adamas, whoa, 2.3. Looking at the casualties sustained and inflicted, my newly improved tier 2 medium swordsmen were able to carry in this fight. And it's a good victory from the Danaans here today against the lighthouse people. We've definitely got a cool picture. We've got a buck, a Baratheon stag, as it were. We're fighting crab and lighthouse people, so I quite like it. Maybe should have been a wolf. I don't know. They're still hanging out.
I'll do it right.
Okay, so Aeneas should be able to push upon Sestos, their capital, their port. And we'll try and siege that one out. Ah, so there's an army up here. We'll allow Romulus to give chase. Get rid of these 6 units hanging out here. But we've killed their enemy lord, and Romulus is going to finish off their army. Excellent stuff. Decisive victory for the Trojans once more. Or Dardanians. That's technically what we should be called. And that makes the auto resolve a lot more in our favour. Let's chuck a quick save. There seems to be a lot of archers inside. Unfortunately, with the sacrifice, we got 6 bad omens, and we'll sure auto-resolve this one out. We beat them on the battlefield. We should be able to take their capital with ease. So we only lost 2 units there, which is fine. We lost a lot more with our weaker tier units against the Manian Phrygians, I think that's what they were called. Aeneas is up to rank 16 now. And let's go with Divine Challenge Armor. So we'll replenish where we can in Melus. They have bronze towards the north, which we can take. Yeah, we haven't really needed bronze too much. Yeah. Maybe we need more with those Anatolian swords now, and they cost a little bit. We're currently hemorrhaging -20, so we should be able to get that back in surplus once we secure the province. Okay, we still need to do ancestral ties, so we'll read the omens now. Spoils of war done. Capture and occupy Pactia. And raise and sack the settlement. Yeah, we can do that. Oh, come on, Aphrodite. Come on, mum. You think you'd get a bonus for her at least, like a persistent one. Okay, so just been declared war on, whatever. Okay, so we'll continue on our Omen conquest. Let's push for Pactia. Or Pactia, however you want to say it. We'll try and finish off the Chernos here today. So 7 units there. Man, crikey, they've given us a decent war here today. They have a lot of units, and they're decent quality as well, because their roster seems to be mostly faced on the Achilles and Danaan, Achaean / tree. So another sack, but the omens just don't seem to be with us as well. So we haven't been getting that RNG, which is a shame. It does cost like 100 foods to get better quality omens or re-roll for it, but we've just been super unlucky against them. It can lead to units being lost, but Aeneas is going to be able to finish off them here today, and we only lost 480. Because you're better off spending the 100, because you can loot and occupy for 1,000 most of the time. We're going to have to sack this time, just so we get that done. And we'll send in Aeneas to actually claim the city. So, yeah, capture and occupy. We just have to sack it to get that small buff. And we'll send in Aeneas to officially conquer it. Sweet. So we've got another epic mission there. Was that maintain 3 military factions? But, Chersoneos has now been defeated, and we've taken the territory of Melas. So now that's opened us up to the north. This is what we currently own. 41 turns in to the Aeneas campaign. Diplomacy-wise, we did get declared war upon some Thracian randos there, which we'll need to declare and deal with, I guess. Hector is strength ranked 4 with 6 territories. But we're slowly but surely becoming the dominant and major force in the Trojan Empire. So I've got to wind things down here. Thank you very much for watching episode 2 of the Total War Saga Aeneas campaign. Hope you've enjoyed today's episode. We've had an absolute blast. We've destroyed 4 factions. No major ones, but a lot of cool and unique ones. We finished off our first faction that we declared war upon, the Apios. Then we dealt with the Phrygians. We were able to have a look at the SATYR Spellbind. Partying and fornicating and having wine and stuff. Was able to build a city all the way up, which is quite cool. I kind of like how epic agents are deployed in Troy. You have to do missions to get them. They're only around for a limited amount of time, because if your campaign goes for 100 turns, you might only see an epic agent for 1 or 2 turns. So it's kind of realistic. It kind of builds upon the myth and legend. The SATYR came spellbound to the city. He came and played his flute. Mr. Tomness came and played his flute, and everyone sprung into building and built a tier 4 settlement instantly. So I quite like that buff. I think out of the SATYR is probably one of the weaker mythical creatures that you can get access to. The Gorgon's quite cool, but so she can break down garrisons quite quickly. The SATYR, okay, I haven't really experienced too many other of the legendary lords. I think they even might be locked. I think only certain lords have access to certain stuff, and it also depends where you sort of naturally go down the temple route in the tree. So hopefully we have another SATYR come up and spring out of a hole in the ground and sort of help us out. The little goat boy. Has he got goat legs, or is it like horse? He's like a bit of a mixture. He's got like goat ears. He's got like a really cool flute. And he's sort of a mixture between a bit of a horse and a man, isn't he? He's a weird-looking character. But anyway, enough about them. Much love from Australia. I've got to say a huge thank you to the Creative Assembly for sending me a free early access code of Troy and making this Let's Play possible. So a huge thank you to them and their community team. So, 13th of August, Troy will be released to the general public and free for the first 24 hours. By the time this video comes up, this could vary. I don't know if it's going to come out the day after. This could be release day. So 13th in most of the world. If you're an Australian, because we live on the other side of the world, or if you're a Kiwi for whatever reason, it comes out on the 14th. But just go and check out the Epic Games Store page. You will be able to do time conversions for yourself. I really wouldn't want anyone to miss out from it. So much love from Australia. I've got to roll out the... Oh, also, guys, I don't know if I've mentioned this before. At the end of every single video, I do for like a minute have an outro, which I just copy and paste. So I make sure every single video I go through all my social media links and shout outs. I don't know if I've really talked about that much, so if I sound a little bit different, or I like sound specifically the same, like all of this year, I just copy and paste that 1 minute intro just to make sure I shout out all my social media and stuff. And yeah, so just anything that sometimes I can miss during the recording session. So I'm going to finish here and I'm going to play the outro now. Unfortunately, guys, it is time to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know in the comment section down below your feedback for the series, and if you'd like to see more, that's the best way to ensure more content. Leave a dislike if you're not enjoying the series. Check out my social media links if you want to stay connected with me. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all in the description below. Patreon and merchandise link in the description below, along with the Steam group. Come and join the community on Steam. And on that note, unfortunately, I have to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching once again. Make sure to take care of yourselves. Go out and have a fantastic rest of your day. My name has been Simpzy. Goodbye.